I am in InDesign and I'm going to create a new document. Be advised that I'm on Creative Cloud at home, so my tab looks a little different, but the principles are all the same. The first question is, how many pages do you plan on making? The minimum requirement is 6. That's your cover, your 2 spreads, and your advertisement. You are more than welcome to make more. You can add pages and remove pages once you create it. I'll show that step. You want to start on page 1. It's a letter size paper. Columns don't print, but I like to have my magazine pages broken down in the rule of thirds, so I tend to do 3. Your margin is in picas, and all this is in picas. It's just an homage to the original journalism when it was done on grid paper, pixel squares. So 3 picas is ½ an inch. And letterhead this is 8.5 by 11. We're going to also add a bleed, which I know we've never done before, but we're going to add one now. Again, just a 3 pica bleed. When you hit tab, it applies to all. Because we don't have a really big book, we're not going to worry about a slug. I'm going to hit OK once I have my 6 pages, my letter size, columns, completely up to you. It's just, I'll show you what they look like in a sec. Margins, bleed. The bleed and slug option, if you don't see it on yours will say on the right hand side over here, more options, fewer options. That's how it opens the bleed and slug. And I hit OK. Voila, I have my document. My title page, 2 spreads, and my advertisement. To zoom in and zoom out, Command plus, Command minus. To panhandle is the spacebar. I'm not in the program, spacebar, and you're able to drag around. As I said, you can add and remove pages. That brings me to the right side here, where I can see my pages here and add and remove pages as needed. So you're more than welcome to do that. Layers, your titles of the layers work as the same titles on every page, but the content within them change. So I like to have my title, I like to have my stories, I like to have pictures, and always on the last one I put backgrounds, and I put that at the very bottom of the pile so that goes to the background. Super easy. Now just be aware what one you're working on. So on title and page 1, we're going to add our masthead. To add a file, Command D. It lets you place. We've made a masthead, masthead.png. There is my masthead. Voila. Things to note, black cursor moves the entire thing. White cursor moves the picture in the picture frame. To move both together, black cursor, Shift and Command lets you move both together. Shift and Command, you can move both together. Okay? That's how you can stylize this. If it looks a little pixelated, as you can see, it's a little bit jotty here. That is because you're using a lot of files. So InDesign looks to work at typical. It prints high quality, but using and working on high quality uses more RAM. It might look nicer on your screen, but it could crash and use more RAM, so it's slower. So typical display is recommended. It will print clear if you made it properly. It's that simple. I want to talk a little bit about the bleed now. This red line represents the bleed, your pink-purple represents the margin, and these ones represent your column. You use bleed if you have color or a picture run off the screen. So let's just say I have this awesome black background for my picture. Here is my picture. Voila. Doesn't look very happy. But it will not print all of this extra. If I show you how it's going to print, it actually prints like a more compressed version. But the bleed is added on because if you're cutting the page down, you don't want to have some random jottiness of white on the actual size. You want to have it go the color all the way off. Same deal if you have a picture on your cover. You need your picture to bleed off. So I'm just going to try and see if I have a picture that I could easily use for my cover shoot. Sure, I have something in my documents. Ah, what an awesome model. Okay, I have my cute kid. So if I have his picture on this file, and I'm going to go back to normal and remove my background so you can see that we talk more about bleed. I do not need to have this file bleed off if it's not going all the way to the edges. So if my picture is staying inside the white space, I don't have to have it bleed. If this picture is being used for the entire cover page, it can never end at the black line. Because when I go to print it, even though I go to screen mode, preview, it kind of looks good. I don't really see the edginess. Because it doesn't have that runoff here, when my printing machine goes and cuts down this line, it might be a little bit off or in. Having that picture bleed off allows the whole thing to be cut properly. It's a very special technique to really master, but it's a great one to have on your resume. So if I want this picture to run off, it can go past the bleed. It just never ends on that black line. And then I have this awesome Happy Magazine title with my lovely rule of thirds too, so I can see where his eyes are going on here and easily add any of those text boxes later on within the rule of thirds for my masthead. But again, that's going to show me my preview, and that's how my magazine's going to look thus far. Pretty darn cute. So that's how you set up your file. In the next video, I'll talk about how to add style to your picture frames and text boxes and all that jazz. But that's just getting you set up and familiar with the mode that you're working in.